society and crime. So one of our references was the Gallup poll, and we formulated questions on the difference between perception and reality as far as how, and that's one of the conversations where we had how people feel safe and whether or not they have a reason behind that, and the crime that actually happens. So 74% of Americans said that there's more crime in the United States, more so now than a year ago. And crime continues to rank fairly low when asked what's the most important thing, or problem or issue facing the country. So this is just differences in regions as far as who's more conscious of crime or who thinks that, depending on a year ago. And you can see here that the South is actually thinking that there's more crime, more rampant or so in their region. And you can take a look at this further. But basically, there's also preventive and reactive measures that are happening where people avoid going to certain neighborhoods or areas where they think there might be a concern or more of a density of crime, criminals, or maybe they don't feel comfortable with, and they do that over purchasing or installing burglar alarms. They do that more so, I mean, in some areas of the country, it's actually legal to buy a handgun and carry a handgun. But overall, people in certain neighborhoods, over the ones that, these are crime victims over non-victims, it's still very small, the percentage of actually somebody who's witnessed a crime or has been victimized than somebody who hasn't. And their behavior is still the same as far as the deterrent that they would do with criminal action. We also...
So on the question of crime or committing crime, does that provide a social status? And in the research I was able to get my hands on, it appears that that's mainly associated with gangs. So when you look at poor areas where people are living, people don't sit there and say to themselves, well, I'm going to go out and commit a crime so I can be the cool guy in the neighborhood. But when you're in a gang, that becomes part of the cultural norms. So you need to commit crimes to have status and stay in the gang and have the benefits that go with that. Homeless people, there's this perception that if there's homeless people around, there's going to be more crime. And what I found in the research is that there's a lot of crime against homeless people. In fact, it's been increasing quite a bit over the last, I'd say, 10 or 15 years, where youth, usually teenagers, are going and picking on homeless people and beating them up and doing really awful things to them just because they're homeless and can't defend themselves and really don't report it. There's also many factors in homelessness that probably have an impact on how much crime is committed. So if someone has a substance abuse problem, they may be committing the crimes because of that substance abuse problem more than the fact that they're homeless or if there's mental health issues, etc. So just because someone's homeless doesn't mean that they're predisposed to go and commit crimes. If they do commit crimes, it's because they want to eat or have something just to get by and continue on living. One study I did find talked about